The Woodpecker Syndrome. I have often been asked, what's the secret to success? To being an entrepreneur, to getting my goal accomplished, to pursuing a dream? Well, I've come to answer all of these questions with the same answer. Be as a woodpecker. Yes, a bird. Do you know that noisy bird that just pecks away? Here's how I see it. Woodpeckers are one of the smallest birds, and yet they take on giant trees without really having any doubt that they have the capacity, strength, determination to make those trees fall. Here's what happens. The tiny bird gets up and goes to its tree, its goal, dream, business daily, and it pecks away. Yes, at the end of the day, I can assure you its beak is going to hurt. Someday it wonders if it took on too big of a tree or goal. The other birds and animals, they look at the woodpecker and kind of think it's crazy. And yet, on certain days, and the woodpecker, it never knows which one, that the big tree is going to fall. Just because one or more small peck action hasn't effectively taken the tree down, that does not mean that the woodpecker will not achieve its goals. Does the woodpecker celebrate? I'm sure the woodpecker does. And then it picks another tree and does what it feels it must to do it all over again. I often think of myself, indeed, as a fellow woodpecker. I've picked some big trees. My beak does hurt. Often people think, hey, I'm crazy. And yet trees do fall. And I've had massive dreams come true. So here's my goal for you. Here's my takeaway. Here's my best advice. Pick a tree, a dream. And once you've picked that dream, what you're going to do is simply stick to it. So let's look at the 5 things that you do to achieve a goal. 1, be specific with the goal. Is the goal a soul goal? Is the goal a business goal? Or is it a personal goal? Determine which of the goals are you trying to succeed at achieving. Once you have been specific, allow your emotion of having seen that goal already accomplished. That's the second step. See it in your mind, see it in your vision, see it. And if you can see it already done, so you started actually with the end in mind. Feel the feeling of having achieved that goal. It didn't matter which of the goals that I took on. What I did was I allowed myself to have gone there. And once I went there, I did go there. You see, I've heard David Imonitie, and he says, I saw it as it was. Look at those 3 little letters, W-A-S, was, and he saw it as it was. The was and the saw, exact 3 letters. So see it as it is. It's done. Third, you're going to become playful with the idea. So say your goal is it's on a personal level. I remember when I had to get to marriage. find a partner, find a husband. Um, what I did was I became very specific. With my first husband, I was very specific about what I was looking for. I knew that I wanted to have babies. I knew what I wanted my kids to come and achieve and easily achieve their goals. And so I did. I was very specific to the T, that when I saw who was to be my husband, and mind you, I didn't know him at all. I shared it with, at the time, she worked with my family, and I shared it with the employee. I said, Evadne, you know what? And do you know what she said? Just like how the other birds, when they look at the woodpecker, they think it's impossible. She said, listen, I don't think you're large enough to achieve that goal. I don't think you're pretty enough. I don't think, no, uh-uh. Well, what's so funny? I shared it with her, and we go on a trip, and I happen to see the guy. Mind you, I did not know him. And as I experienced that, I'm standing there with her, and as I'm standing, I'm seeing the guy walk into my periphery, and I thought, wait a minute. And honestly, she turned to me, ladies, don't you give up on your dream. And she said, there's no way he's going to marry you. And indeed, you're not pretty enough. You're not brilliant enough. You're not all of those things enough. Well, I let it slide, and I just kept on going. And years later, I met and married that guy. I didn't I didn't know him. I really did not. He was a gentleman that was from my community. In fact, he wasn't even from my community. I met him in an adjoining community to where we were. As you guys know, I'm Jamaican, so I went on vacation, and guess what? Stella got her groove back, and I met him, and we started dating, fell in love, and the day that I'm getting married, here's what I said. Evadne, see this ring? And she goes, yeah. I said, remember what you said to me the first time that I ever saw him, didn't know who he was. I went to the States, he remained in Jamaica, and I would then get the opportunity to meet him. And Evadne, I'm not married. I suppose, you remember the statement, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough? If you have the right confidence within you, ladies, it can be done, it can be accomplished. And I did not work at it. Honestly, I really didn't. Because when I met Lance, I did not know Lance, did not know anything about him. His sisters and I had gone to school, or his sister and I had gone to school. But when I left Jamaica, I left all of that behind, did not know that I would actually go back home. And I laugh now, and I tell people, here I am, a mommy of 3. And, it's sad that I say, my Prince Charming, I lost him to cancer. Yeah, sad. But nonetheless, I had the pleasure of saying I was married to my best friend. And you know how when we fall in love, ladies, we say till death? My God, I love him to death. Oh my God, he's just so awesome. I wish I could take those words back from my husband. He kept saying, you got to understand I love you to death. Ladies, be cautious what words you use. You see, the woodpecker is very cautious as the sound it makes. And it chips away and chip away until its goal is accomplished. Well, my goal was I did meet, fell in love with, married my life partner, and lost my life partner. And for me, it's that woodpecker mentality. So number 4, what are you going to do after you've been playful? The next thing that you're going to make sure that you do, right, is you are going to now face your fear. My fear in my situation would be, well, I'm not the most attractive person. I'm not pretty. I could have looked at it that way, but I had to face my fear. If this is who I saw in my mind's eye, and I did not know who the person was, obviously there was something that was greater than I was and had a destiny that it wanted me to live. And if I was ever going to play my favorite song, it was going to be not on someone's term, but on my terms and on God's terms. And guess what? When you release that thing, met him, saw him, released him, because I didn't know who he was, and years later happened to meet him again. And as I meet him again, I promise one day I'll tell you guys the full story of it, honestly. Um, it was on the most amazing terms and thought, oh my God, there's no way this is going to work. And honestly, hear me say, I didn't think it was going to work. And I left Jamaica, came back to the States, and my little heart kept going pitter-pat, pitter-pat. I couldn't wait to go back, and I went back home. And within a year, we were engaged, and we got married. I got married so young that I needed other people's permission to marry. So that's a whole other story by itself, right? And then what I did was I took massive action. So I was specific, 1. 2, I allowed my feelings, my emotion to really get involved. 3, I became playful with the idea. Number 4, faced my fear. Ladies, if you got to stand in front of a mirror and face your fear, stand in front of the mirror and face your fear. You are enough. You're beautiful. You're wonderful. And for my guys that are listening to me, guys, put yourself in my place. You're handsome. You're wonderful. You are enough. And the 5th thing was I took massive action and became the wife to the man that I had seen in my vision. Listen, the woodpecker picks a tree, a dream, and simply stick to it and start pecking away. That was me coming back and picking up David Bridal magazines and start looking at what my dress is going to be like, what the groommen, the bridesmaids. I started planning my wedding way in advance. The next thing, you got to be immune to what other people say. People can be mean, but that's okay. I don't let their toxicity bleed into my dreams. My dreams are bigger and greater. And remember, your tree can fall at any time. And when that tree falls, my friend, you have accomplished a marvelous and an amazing goal. This is Empowered Coach N. If you like or would like to hear more about me, story, Woodpecker Syndrome, please like and subscribe on Instagram, #EmpoweredCoachN. Here I am on YouTube, Coach Nicola B. You need to reach me by all means. It is info@empoweredcoach.net. And I look forward again. Let's do this. Go pick your tree. Start pecking. Watch it fall. I promise you it will.